Welcome to the BJJ Mental Coach Podcast, episode 153. I'm your host, Gustavo Dantas, and today you have Fabin Rosa. Fabin is a Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's a 2024 Master World Champion, and recently he won the 2025 Pan Championship, and he's been in U.S. for nearly 20 years. He got 4 schools in Orlando, Florida, and is a guy that I've been noticing in the competition scene that always seems to have a lot of fun when he's out there. He's comfortable, loose, and I always appreciate seeing people performing like that. And I didn't mention this to him. And he talks about his journey, starting Jiu-Jitsu, moving to the US, and at first not to really make a living with Jiu-Jitsu, but one of those things from life. So he talks about his competition experience, all the living abroad. So I think you guys are going to enjoy. Also, I just got back. I just released an audio. It's about 6 minutes long, only on a podcast, just talking about my experience at the Pans, how was my performance and everything. It's also available on YouTube, the BJJ Mental Coach. I'm working on the Diary of the Master Season 2. So we have the second episode. So we're working on putting some footage together, some of the things of my preparation for the Pans and how was the tournament itself. So probably in a couple weeks we'll be available, recording this right now, the beginning of April of 2025. And in a month, I'll be competing at the Brazilian Nationals. So the challenge that I accepted of competing at the 4 major tournaments, I already competed 2, and now going to the 3rd one in Brazil. I haven't competed at the Brazilian Nationals since 2008, and I won the division. First time I was competing as a Master 1, and now I'm going back there as a Master 5 and try my best to win the 3rd tournament in a row this year, and then break for like about 4 months for the Master Worlds. But that's about it. I hope you enjoy. And now, Fabin Rosa. Us. Fabin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Recent from the Pans 2025. You had a great performance. We're going to talk about your history, how you got involved with Jiu-Jitsu, but right now, recent from the Pans, how was the experience for you? I was looking last year, you won the Master Worlds, you lost the finals of the Pans last year. So what do you feel that was different this year from last year?
For last year, I fought different. I fought very aggressive, and I know I put myself in danger many times because I just want to keep it going. I was doing good. I have 4 matches. Every match, I won by 2-3 minutes submission until the final, when I got the guy in the final in the back for 3 minutes. And I don't know if I lost my focus, I couldn't get it, or I believe also it is what it is. And I lost. Ended up making the fight tight, and I lost the fight. So after that, I went to Worlds, and this pan out with okay, I'm gonna fight more I'm gonna hold the pace the way I don't get tired, and I want to keep the control of the match.
More strategic.
Yes. The last one was more let's go, and that one I was and I tell everybody I play around. Because there is a year, 2020, I won the Pans in 2020, and I lost the final of the Worlds. And I always joke around, man, I'd rather lose the Pans and win the Worlds. So this time that happened. The last year, I lost the Pans in the final, and I took the Worlds. So it was a good balance.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about more of competition. I want to know more about your mindset, because from what I see, it just seems like you're having fun and you lose. You're kind of being yourself there, which is not that easy. A lot of people struggle being your authentic self, performing, that worry about winning or losing. And I relate with what you said, because I lost the finals of the Master Worlds last year too, because I just wanted to kind of keep going, and I wasn't strategic enough, and it cost me. So I know exactly what what you're saying. So let's talk about, so how, when did Jiu-Jitsu show up in your life? Did you train any martial arts before Jiu-Jitsu?
So when I was young, I was do judo and capoeira. I was like, my mom has me and my two brothers, and then I guess she just want to put us to like do a lot of like exercise. So I was starting judo and capoeira, I was very young, and then jiu-jitsu was a little bit later in my life when I was by probably 13, 14 years old. I started like be able to pick what I want to do, and I was living in Barra da Tijuca back then. And so all my friends from school, they started training. So I went to Jiu-Jitsu, and since then, I still train.
Awesome. And so who did you train with in Brazil?
So my first Jiu-Jitsu teacher when I was young was Gustavo Machado, Guga. And he moved to US, I'll say like after 4 years we have been training with him, something like that. And he told us, guys, you guys go to Gordo or Roleta. So half the team went to Gordo, half the team went to Roleta. My best friends went to Roleta, so I went with my best friends. And then where I became like my whole life, my other teacher for the whole life is Roleta.
And by the way, for everyone who's listening right now, maybe you have some people who are new to the sport and we're mentioning names and maybe don't realize some of the names being thrown around, like Roberto Gordo Correa. He's a trailblazer in the half guard game. And Roleta, he is a guy I interview both of them in Portuguese. But Roleta is the guy, if you see people playing upside down, playing inverted today, as far as I know, he is the first one that we saw doing it. No one has seen that back then. So he's definitely innovative with that. 4-time black belt world champion and a Hall of Fame. And one of I would say in my list of top 10 guys that I always enjoy and emulated some of the games who had similar body types as far as long legs and long limbs, so there's a lot of things that I try to emulate. So if you guys have a chance to put his name on YouTube and see some of the matches, great competitor.
They're gonna like.
Yeah, because one of the things that I do with my podcast in Portuguese, the Mente Blindada, I bring more like masters competitors, old school guys, because just like in every sport, the idols, they kind of with time they are forgotten. There's new ones, and then in jiu-jitsu sometimes I talk about Roleta and people are like, who? And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know this guy? So
he was here not too long ago. He was here not too long ago with me in my house here with his kids, just a vacation. And I was joking to him, man, people knows more about me than you here.
Yeah.
They have no idea. I mean, then I introduced him to all my students, my friends, and show a video of him. Especially the new generation. I have a lot of kids, they come for the pants here, all like top kids. I want the bigger competitors. And some doesn't know. They don't have idea who was. Yeah,
for
man.
sure. Now, how old were you when you competed for the first time?
Man, I competed when I was young. I did judo, I did competitions in judo. Jiu-jitsu I did, but I didn't like depression when I was young. And I started work very young. I was 17, if I'm not mistaken, I started work. So my whole weekend, I have to work. And on Saturday and Sundays, I want to enjoy the beach, because I have to go to a competition, spend the whole day in the competition, and Monday I have to go back to work again. So I kind of like stay out a little bit. I remember I always tell Roleta about that. He always tell me like I would regret to don't compete. And on that time I was training jiu-jitsu. The guy who won the world in all my divisions, blue, purple, brown, and the black, he lost the final for Daniel Moraes, was Rodrigo Bomba. The guy I trained my whole life together. We train a lot together. We same like size, everything. And Roleta always put us to go. And he used to say, go with him, man. You guys are going to do good. Then I just like, no. And then I talked to him about that. And now, after like gym happened in my life. I moved to US, and then I started to compete just to be a part with my guys as well, because a bunch of people want to compete. So I just go with them, and I try to have fun, as you say. I try to make it at that moment so people see my job, see the way I fight, see what I have to expose my gym.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I appreciate the most when I'm watching people, I'm watching footage, and I mentioned a little bit early in our conversation, but if there's something that I appreciate, it's watching someone feel loose and comfortable on the mat. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, the majority of competitors there, they're like so scared of losing that they end up not being themselves. They end up not showing. They leave their match saying, man, that was not me there. I'm so much better than that. Did you feel that you always felt comfortable, or you start to build up with time, building that confidence?
That happened. It happened a lot. Like when I was young, I felt a lot of pressure, as I say, because I don't want to lose.
Times.
I know I had jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I was young. And now, maybe because I'm older, and I was able to figure out the calm and the way I try more, better results I had.
Absolutely.
Than when I was very like, what about? So the what about lose, I was not doing what I should get done. And now, because I just, okay, you know why? If what I do is enough, it's going to be what I have to do for today. If you know, I will come back next time. I tell everybody in my gym, I change the way I think, the way performance better.
What do you do you think that is because when you're in a process of developing our confidence, we have specific events that happen, and then you like, boom, you feel a little better. And then something happens, maybe even if sometimes could be an event that you didn't win, but you had a war with a high level guy, and you're like, dude, I belong. You know, so do you remember a moment that you felt your confidence giving that boost?
Was when I started. So, if I'm not mistaken, I started competing more here in the US in 2013 when I opened my gym. So I threw myself in a competition, and I did like 3 or 4 competitions, and I did very well in all of them. And I started like be very confident, like until I started like has my momentum. Then I lost a couple. I lost like maybe 4 finals back to back. But I know like depends. The last pens I lost, I like the way I fought. I like what I put it there. I put it out what I can do right the moment right there. I fight for the gym, for people to see what I want to bring, and I lost. But I still feel was, even though I did get the first place, I performed
nice
the way I was thinking about.
And this is what I tell people. I like to say that when someone's going to compete, I tell them, I wish you have a double, like double gold. But the double gold is that I mentioned is not about weight and open. It's the first goal is that internal peace that you hit your head in the pillow. And regardless what happened, you are at peace. I said, like, dude, that was me there. If someone beat me, congratulations. It wasn't because of my mind. It's because he did better. And that is a gold medal that is priceless. And then, of course, I always wish the gold of your division that you can do well and perform. But as we get older, right? Because when you're younger, I mean, I had no desire of personal growth. I just want to win whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And as you get older, like, no, man, I want to show my stuff. I want to show my jiu-jitsu. I want to be my authentic version. And it's not easy. How do you work this with your students? You know, like some of the guys who see like, dude, this guy is so good at the school, but he's not really clicking in tournaments.
So it's funny because all this stuff like I play in the gym. I go to the gym and I talk to everybody. I teach like there is one class, I create stuff. I just go there and start like play with simple ideas. I believe you do as well. Everybody like, we try, hey, come over here, call one guy, say, hey, come over here. If I do this, what do you do that? So I start to try make like different steps to get results on a situation, because everybody expect the same ideas, and then I start like try get a little bit off the way everybody's been fighting, especially for our division, the master division. I mean, like
it's a lot of strategy involved because it's so fast.
I can tell, like, for me lately, it's kind of fun to say, but I've been holding seat as a master. People don't sit that much in the floor. I've been sitting because I feel a lot of guys very strong to keep exchanging stand up, and was making me tired sometimes. So once I went down, I start to feel like I can make the game more even for me. So that's something like I feel like it's been helping me a lot.
Yeah, is the amount of competitors in the master division is growing so much. And one of the things that I put on my channel when I talk about videos, sometimes people want to go, what's the biggest challenge that we can get? The Master Worlds. And what is the biggest challenge in the black belt division? Even if you're a blue belt and you're listening right now, if you enjoy jiu-jitsu and you like competing, at some point you're going to compete at the Master Worlds, maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, or who knows. Keep going. And I always say every year is going to get worse as far as like it's getting more and more complicated. And people who go in with, I like to break down, like you have the participant mindset and the contender mindset. Contender that I'm in business. I'm coming here not to just maybe place.
I tell my guys, no, competition, you have to focus on the win. That's like, I believe what it is. If I compete, I'm 100% I want to win. Sorry. Come on, girls. Sorry, buddy. That too is crazy, man. But it is like I try like make my mind as strong as I can, and I'm gonna pass everything I have to pass to win the competition. I talk to the kids over there. I know you guys are kids, but if you want to compete, you guys have to focus on the winning, because that's what the competition going for.
Yeah. So now let's talk about maybe a situation, because as you mentioned, you sound pretty consistent as far as feeling good on when you compete. You can go back as far as you want, but was there a situation that you left and you said like, dude, that was not me there. It didn't look like me. And what did you learn from it? What happened when you analyze it now?
I remember like the competed back in the days, young, like I would say 16, 17, as a blue belt. And I did do, I'm going to just move to the garage, sorry, man. And I did performance how I shoot, because I was too concerned. I was too concerned about
when you're
losing. Yeah. The thing I learned was I have to change my way to think, the way I was approach the situation. Because when I was going to competition, I was concerned about the other people than me to do my thing. And I tell that to my guys, to everybody here. All I do now is what about how I want to do it and what I want to do. Then be think about like, oh, that guy's so tough, gonna do that. I said, man, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna involve him on my plan.
There you go.
That's, I believe, the change.
Yeah, that's a very common mistake. People start forgetting. They put so much thought into what they cannot control, which is what the other person is going to do.
Yeah.
Than their own game. And you know what's interesting too, Fabin, is that the lessons that we learn in jiu-jitsu, many times people end up doing the same thing in their personal professional life. They start getting more concerned about what other people, they're not even in jiu-jitsu. Sometimes it's running a business, but they're more concerned about what other people. So that's very interesting how jiu-jitsu really exposes you, like you get to know yourself pretty well when you're in an under pressure situation. And that's one of the biggest motivations that I try to tell people to compete, is that like, dude, talk about priceless experience. Understand how do you handle those emotional and mental situations, because you don't need competition to grow in jiu-jitsu, of course, and learn. However, when you do use jiu-jitsu as a tool, it definitely amplifies the power of jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you discover a lot about yourself when you go to compete. Like I changed, as I say, the way I used to not like to. Now I enjoy. I enjoy, and I enjoy to try to control my emotions, to control my thoughts, the way I'm gonna think about. You know what I mean? The competition. Everybody starts to get excited, whatever. But I just like be handle very well my before competition situation. I mean, and it's what I pass to my guys a lot here. Control the mindset.
How old are you when you moved to the US?
I was 28, about a month to be 29. It was December 2006.
So let's talk about this. Almost 20 years ago. Let's talk about like that time when you're about to move. Okay. We talk a lot about mindset and stuff like that. And I always mention how everyone, no exception, has to deal with the negative voice. I like to call the dark passenger, the voice that tell you all the fears, doubts, insecurities, and they're going to be with you for the rest of your life. They don't disappear. You learn how to become more aware of the voice, and it's that internal battle all the time. So I know it's 20 years ago, but how was your internal battle when you decide I'm going to move? What does your negative voice was telling you? Like, dude, what are you going to do? Are you out of your mind? You know, what was going through your mind? How was the process mentally and emotionally speaking?
So when I first moved to here, was about to be just for 6 months to a year. I pretty much moved just to learn English. I used to come a lot here as vacation. And I want to learn English because I just come shop everything, I listen to music, and I want to know what's me about. I mean, and then I always like, man, I need to learn English. And I tried to study English in Brazil, but was hard. And in here, I believe, okay, my chance will be better to learn here. Even though it's still hard, but now I can communicate, whatever it is. And the main stuff for me was leaving family behind, my friends. Everybody, I know who they are. I know where I can trust to come over here and start finding new people, new friends, who I can trust, who is gonna be, you know what I mean, like see me like, okay, it's a good guy, you know what I mean, because they also don't know me. So the beginning was there. They not know if I was gonna be able to have like a good friendly group of friends the way I had back home.
And then how long until you started to work with jiu-jitsu, even if you was maybe just teaching some classes? How since you didn't think about moving at first, so how did it come about for you to start teaching?
So I got invited to teach jiu-jitsu here in 2001. I moved in 2006, but because I used to come back and forth a lot, I believe most jiu-jitsu guys will have a lot of here in my gyms. Wherever we travel, we find a place to train. Like wherever I go train. I find a gym and I go train, have fun, make friends. They invite me to teach here. But in 2001, I was not ready. I was going to school. I have my life over there. I was working for my family. And there is a time, and then after that, there is a time I was just start to talk to my parents, and he supported me, said, man, go learn, like do what you have to do. And then I moved to here.
And now, how was the process up to the point that, okay, I'm going to officially start a business? What year did you open up officially a business?
I opened my gym in 2013.
Okay.
About so I taught jiu-jitsu here for 5 years, and there is a moment in my life. Yeah, there is a moment in my life I don't want to be do jiu-jitsu anymore. I was not sure if I want to be here or move back home. And then I told them I was about to leave. Uh, then I left the gym. I stay waiting until the next teacher come. They have a new teacher, and then I left. And then I went to Brazil for 3 months. I didn't train at all. I don't want to train jiu-jitsu. I don't know. Maybe it was too much for me, and I just took off. Don't want to train, and I went for 3 months, and I got back here for 2 more months. And then I went back for Brazil again for 1 to 3 months when I started training again. In between that transition, I had like a guy I met him in a bar. I used to work in a bar as well. So I was teaching jiu-jitsu daytime, and I have another job where I work at night times in the bars, in the clubs. Daytime, I have a little job in between class. I would set up the bars, put ice, organize the bar for the bar open. Was fit good on my schedule because I was by the gym. And nighttime, I used to finish my class. On Fridays night, I used to work in the weekend and shower and then go to the bar and work all night. And I met the guy, like the reason behind I have a gym. His name is Gabriel. He says not old enough to be my daddy, but he's a big brother to me. He is a very, very, very important person in my life here. He's the guy call him every day to talk about business. He speaks Portuguese, but he's an American guy, wealthy in life, very successful on his business. I say always that he's the reason why I opened my first gym and all the other 4 locations, the other 3 locations. It's him. And he's the one keep calling me right now. What is the number 5? Let's go. He pushing me, like he making me like don't sit on my butt. He want to make me go. And that was the reason. The guy, like a friend of mine, I was teaching him private, and he started teaching like, hey man, why you don't open a gym? And I don't want to do that. And then we talk about that. Took me about 2 years to open my gym. I opened the garage here. In between that situation, I was going to Brazil, back and forth. I didn't know what I want to do. He built a gym on my house, in my garage, the way I can teach him private class. And I was taught him. I thought some guys was fighting UFC, so I went to UFC as a coach as well. One of the guys I was teaching, they won the house, they showed the house back in the days. And that started like more people coming to my garage. And then there is a moment I have like 17, 18 people in my garage, but a lot of cars in front of my house. And then we started to look for a place outside.
Nice.
Took me about like almost a year to find a place because it was a small place, but ended up to be right. I can walk from my house because I sold my car, I sold everything I have. Then I have to walk to the gym. So it was right. It's still here. I can just walk the way back and forth to the gym.
Beautiful. So now, when we started, when you're in the process of opening the first one, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to the podcast, and people who have jiu-jitsu in their lives, but they're entrepreneurs, business owners, and it's a tough phase when you're about to open a business. That's when a lot of doubts come in. So what was the major concern that do you feel that was kind of holding you back from pull the trigger and actually open the school? Before it was, fine, before you start looking for building and stuff like that, but just the mental commitment that, I'm going to do it. What was preventing you? Do you remember?
Was the confidence my friend was passed to me, the way he talked to me. And the hard part was do all the paperwork, all the documents, go to the city, I believe so. Yeah. And he was the guy who was with me. Let's go. He always says to me, I'm not going to give nothing to you, even though it has, but I never asked, but I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to give the fish, I teach you how to fish. That's how you do your business. Let's go here. That's the city hall. And then he showed me how I have to apply for my documents. Beautiful. He was going to check the places with me. Everything I was talking to the brokers, he was behind and guiding me, you know what I mean? And still now these days. I was confident when I opened the gym. but I was never thought about would be how it is now these days. I was a single guy, live alone. I had time. I was thought about like you just live in a gym, just me, teach jiu-jitsu, live in the gym, uh, and the gym picked it up right away. But was just for me, I was just okay, man. I just want to survive and and train jiu-jitsu. And then luckily it's growing. But I know since the day one, I do it how I like it. I do it
Mm-hmm.
how why I like the way I do jiu-jitsu back home with my friends. They're my brotherhood. Like we are friends. Like for every day we talk. You know what I mean, we grow up together, train jiu-jitsu. Uh, it was fun. Was the time I like to go to the gym because we train, we joke with each other, we laugh, you know what I mean? It's the same I wanna hear. I go to the gym for fun, we train, but I go for have fun. I put my music on, and I believe that's a good thing. I don't try to change who I am to have my gym.
So when you think about all these years with the school, that's over 10 years now, you mentioned like the beginning is that boring part of like learning, about permits and this and that in the city and all that stuff. But what would you say in these past 10, a little bit over 10 years, what are some of the biggest struggles that you had running the business? You're like, oh man, I never thought about that. I never thought about maybe I was going go through with this. Sometimes this could it be a marketing department, sometimes could it be a staff, hiring people. There's so many different ways to go about it.
Yeah, no, so I learn a lot and still learning. Like I'm not able to do everything on my gym. I do a big part, and my
Mm-hmm.
wife do the other part. She deal with the inside, like a lot of people's wife in the jiu-jitsu gyms.
Mm-hmm.
She deal with all the part what I could not do without
It's
her.
huge.
Uh,
It's huge.
for me to do what I do in the gym, I need her backup behind the
Yeah.
scenes. So she's with me since the day one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we start date like when was about to open, start like you look for the gym, and she's been with 100% support and helping the gym since then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it would be really hard for me. It is already hard with her, but to do
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. This is I like to call too the one man band, right? You're singing and playing the guitar and the drums, and trying to do a bunch of stuff at the same time.
It's too much.
And I have my wife helps me too, and I relate 100%. I would not be able to do what I do without her.
Uh,
There's no way, There's no
I the
way.
same way here.
Yeah,
It's the same way
and
with her. She's the one do all.
so the process of opening those multiple locations, what's still like a challenge, even though when you go there, what the process is like, what is the
Uh,
some of the issues right now that you're facing?
so to the legal stuff is tough. I mean, like I have
Yeah,
to get a
true.
lawyer to do all the paperwork, and they're expensive. And there is like whatever we open gym, I tell them open the gym. I believe it will be the easiest part. Keep you open is the hard part. I mean, keep you
True.
running, keep you like because a lot of people open gym and then later they have a problem to keep the gym open because costs more than we thought it because there is this, there is that, there is
Hmm.
shoes,
It's
there is
always
lunch,
like that.
there is
Yeah.
problems. Yeah, so that surprise come along, what I don't think people expect. Everybody talk about open gym, but keep it open. I believe like here, I see a lot of gyms in the city open, stay a couple years, and then no more. I mean, I
Absolutely.
think
And the market has changed a lot, and that has grown a lot, has evolved a lot. I'm here in Arizona. I moved to the United States in 1999. I've been here in Arizona since
uh,
2000. When I moved here in the whole state, there was between 5 and 10 academies in the whole state. Now there's about
you,
160.
I don't. You moved it to open gym.
No, I came to pursue my dream.
Okay, life. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Same
then
with me.
and hopefully to make a living with jiu-jitsu, but I didn't get hired right away to work at jiu-jitsu. Same thing, did work with other things until opportunities present itself, and then took and just went from there.
Life you do the right guide you to the right
Yeah,
path.
absolutely. And also, man, like when you think about stories like us or immigrants, especially jiu-jitsu in this case, but there's a phrase that I like by Jim Rohn that say, because many times, like, you had to do a lot of jobs that you didn't like necessarily and
Yeah.
didn't want to, but it's like, it is what it is. Is it to do that or I don't eat? What's going to be, so you have to do it. But he talks how work full-time on your living and part-time on your dream. And one day with sacrifice, perseverance, and discipline, this part-time can become your full-time job. So basically that's it. You started doing other stuff, like, and then suddenly, I'm teaching a jiu-jitsu class here. Nice. Started the part-time, and little by little start growing to the point that the job that you didn't want to gets eliminated. And
Starts like
and it's not even about, since 2005 I officially have only working with what, who, and when I want, meaning I don't have to put up with someone that, like, I don't want to work with this person. I don't want to do this job. And that wasn't even a moment I was like, oh, I'm good with money, I'm sad. No, it's not that. It's like, I can survive and I'm good. From here, let's build, to have more wealth or whatever. But it was always, for me, a decision of values, of freedom of choice. Dude, I just want to do what I want to do. That's all. There's nothing wrong working in your office, but it's not for me, and I bet that it's not for you.
I want to try. Yeah, I try like make the life I enjoy more. Like, the way exactly how you do. Even like in the gym here, the gym is like where I spend like pretty much. Here in my house is the much like half a half or more in the gym. And I tell everybody in there, like, even for people to stay at the gym, I have to feel comfortable. It's hard to have somebody over there give a headache, I know it's a business, whatever. I treat everybody very nicely, but there is points like I have to talk to people, whatever, like, hey, you have to find a better situation, a better place for you, or somewhere fit more your personality, because my choice there is not just work, it's about to be in peace as well, have fun.
Absolutely. And we're getting close to the end of this conversation. Here's the thing. When you think about a piece of advice that someone gave you, one of the best ones that you had, doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu, could be or not, a life, could be a parent's advice, but something that comes to your mind when you think about an advice that someone gave you at some moment. Anything?
Man, most of the advice I remember a lot is my parents. They always tell me to do the right way, always putting myself in places the way if make it easy, make my choices. If it was me on the other side, And I think about that. I try. I don't believe nobody's perfect, but I try be fair with me, be fair with the choice I do. I always be like honest.
And also, we just started the year, right? We're kind of right now, just getting to April. What are you currently excited about? As we started at the beginning of the conversation, you had a great tournament with the Pans. You got your schools going. So what are you excited about for the next, for the rest of the year, let's say?
It's funny because, as I say, I was not a competitor when I was young. I started like compete more. I still tell my gym is a jiu-jitsu lifestyle. I have a lot of competitors, good level, a lot like world champions, pan champions, and my master is very strong. My gym has a lot of good guys in the master, but we still make it as a lifestyle. But they talk about compete, and they motivate me to go with them. So I might try compete more this year. The last year I did the Pans and Worlds, and this year already depends. I might do some competition before the Worlds because I want to try again.
Beautiful. Fabin, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on your journey, man. You know, it's a big accomplishment to come here to the US, learning the language, going through all the struggle to be able to have a school, have your family, do what you love, do with passion, being able to perform, compete, how you train. So congratulations, man, for that. Shows a lot, you know, of your effort that you've been putting all these years.
Thank you, brother. I try, as I say, I try to be happy, enjoy. I think I tell everybody, if you're around here, come by the gym if you wanna, gas or not, come see the way we do here, the way we enjoy the lifestyle here.
Beautiful. I'll put in the description your Instagram, your school Instagram information, and then they can get in contact with you. So everyone, you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Us.
Valeu.